Once upon a time, there was a village of the Lapacuse, and it's still there. Nestled on the plateau of the Langamon-Regalese, Piozzo is an ancient village that has preserved a very special tradition. Let's be off and discover it together. But who were these Lapacuse? In local dialect, they were the peasants who always carried a special flask with them into the vineyards. It was made from a gourd, called Lapacuse, and they drank, or lapavano, from it whenever they got thirsty. The custom of using dried langenaria, or bottle gourds, as containers is a centuries-old practice. Originally from Africa, these vines were growing here in Italy and in domestic use as far back as Roman times. But let's get back to our Lapacuse, or rather, to a group of their descendants. In 1994, these Piozzo friends decided to pay homage to this local tradition and its intriguing nickname by resuming the cultivation of gourds and pumpkins in their fields. Thus began an exciting adventure. The townspeople began to plant not only the old Lagenaria species, but about another 40 species of edible squash as well. And as often happens, one thing led to another. And a quarter of a century later, about 600 different varieties of cucurbits are entrusted to the carefully prepared soil in the fields around Piozzo. The gourd family, also called cucurbits, includes pumpkins, squash, zucchini, watermelons, melons, and cucumbers, as well as the luffa, used as a sponge. Precious seeds, carefully selected and preserved. Uses, shapes, colors, and flavors to satisfy every need and taste imaginable. Spring has finally arrived. The earth patiently awaits the loving gestures, entrusting it with those precious seeds. Seeds that embody a heritage of history, tradition, and biodiversity. Ancient gestures that have since become seasonal rituals, repeated over and over, year after year, and occasionally accompanied by a little special local know-how. The first two leaves sprout. It seems incredible that they are strong enough to break through nature's layers of protective underground covering. And then suddenly they're off and practically running. Very few other species grow and mature so quickly and with such speed. And now it's summer, with everyone from town heading for the fields once again. To care for and keep watch over the plants as they grow.
Dai, via. Adesso è ora di togliere un po' d'erba alle nostre zucche in modo che possano crescere tranquille e avere un buon raccolto. L'erba non manca mai, non manca mai. È un lavoro che bisogna fare con pazienza, a mano, un po' faticoso, ma indispensabile per poter avere un buon raccolto. Dare alle zucche il modo, alle piante di espandersi, di poter respirare bene, di non avere le radici soffocate dall'erba, con calma, in compagnia. Veniamo qui a passare qualche giornata di inizio estate.
When the rains are slow in coming, help is sought from the canals that surround the fields.
Quanti ricordi in questo campo? Io che sono figlio di contadini e la terra poi non l'ho praticata, non l'ho coltivata, forse anche per quello, perché ero figlio di contadini. Erano tempi in cui la terra era dura, 40-50 anni fa, però adesso la passione per la zucca ci ha riportato qui e sono ricordi ormai lontani però vividi e presenti.
And now summer is drawing to an end, and the life cycle of the plants is approaching maturity. And what a lot of surprises hidden amongst the leaves. The time has come to harvest nature's bounty. Production is not constant from year to year. Weather conditions, as well as all kinds of adversities, greatly affects the quantity and quality of each harvest.
Ma guarda tu questa zucca che oltre ai normali parassiti viene attaccata anche dalle cornacchie. Le cornacchie che con i loro lunghi becchi bucano le zucche rendendole inutilizzabili.
Luckily, the birds didn't do too much damage this year, and it's such a great joy to be able to fill the wagons once again. It's been a good harvest, and now we're back home. The fruit of this year's labor are being washed with care to make them even more attractive for their presentation to the public later on. Yes, because our friends of Piozzo organize 2 great celebratory events for them every autumn. One is held in the courtyard of Balladen's open garden. Here, in Valle, the aged and weathered bricks of the 17th century Cascina Coda farmhouse warmly embrace the shapes and colors of the 600 varieties on display. And for each one, an informative profile describing its characteristics and suggested uses has been prepared by the Lapacuse. The first weekend of October welcomes the regional pumpkin fair, which is always a great success, thanks to the work of the many volunteers who are organized and coordinated by the Pro Loco. The fair enlivens the squares, courtyards, farmhouses and streets of Piozzo and attracts thousands of visitors every year. And when legendarians end up in the hands of creative craftsmen, they can also be transformed into surprising musical instruments, or into beautiful lamps that recall the delicacy of filigree. Volunteers from the Pro Loco prepare delicious pumpkin muffins, while an old and venerable chocolate shop fills the delicious gianduie pralines with violina pumpkin. The Pumpkin Fair is also an excellent opportunity to introduce the town to visitors and show them around. Guides from the Volunteers for Art are happy to point out the town's most picturesque sights and attractions, such as the Chapel of San Bernardo, which was built at the end of the 14th century as a rest stop for pilgrims on their way to Santiago di Compostela, flask in hand. Let's go in and admire the beautiful late Gothic frescoes signed by Frater Enriquez and dated 1451. After years of oblivion, the cultivation of cucurbits in the fields and gardens around Piozzo has been revitalized. The Pro Loco has also registered the trademark and cultivation regulations of a local variety, the Zucca Piozzo, with the Italian Ministry of Agriculture. It has a very thin shell, and its bright orange pulp is delicious, with the perfect consistency for making desserts, fillings, soups, and risottos. All to try with the local pumpkin beer. And when imaginative chefs discover the goodness of these local ingredients, surprising, innovative dishes are created every year. Other recipes and special tips intended to satisfy the gastronomic curiosity of the public have been collected and are available from the Pro Loco. And now it's winter, but work continues in Piozzo. It's time to prepare the seeds that are given out in April, during the popular Fiori in Zucca event. A celebration dedicated to biodiversity and always full of surprises. It's also a great opportunity to compare and learn from different experiences. And is typically a time of generous sharing. And then it's spring once again, the fields all ready to welcome this year's new seeds. And so continues the fascinating story of the Lapacuse.